Marina Gray steps quietly through the door of her little seaside cottage as the world is just waking. Inside, the cottage is still dim and warm, a kettle gently steaming on the stove, and the hand-loom rug at the threshold perfectly rumpled from where she slept last night. Moments after stepping out, Marina finds herself pausing in the dimly lit entryway of the cottage. On a small wooden table lies a framed photograph of her and her father on a sunlit day at the very same beach many years ago. Marina reaches out and gently touches the glass with the photo, her fingers tracing the smile on her father's face as if greeting him. She whispers softly, "Good morning, Dad," her breath fogging the glass for an instant before she turns away. Outside, the sky is a pale canvas of pre-dawn light, and the first song of a lone seabird drifts up from the shoreline. She wraps a soft shawl around her shoulders and shuts the door softly behind her to preserve the morning hush. In the cool air of dawn, she takes a steadying breath, smelling the faint scent of jasmine climbing the porch columns and the salt breeze coming off the sea. It is a familiar routine, the early walk by the water. But today, her footsteps feel heavier with the weight of memory. A narrow path of weathered cobblestones leads from the cottage door through tall beach grasses toward the shore. Marina's bare feet press gently into the early cool stones with each step. Beyond the dunes, the sky is painted in strokes of pale pink and lavender by the rising sun, and the first song of a lone seabird drifts up from the shoreline. Tall grasses bow as she brushes past, releasing a fresh, earthy fragrance mixed with salt. She notices morning glories woven through the fence posts along the path, their deep purple petals still curled from the night's rest. Each breath fills her lungs with crisp morning air, grounding her in the tranquility of the new day. Marina Gray steps onto the dew-kissed sand of Silver Mist Cove just as the first light of dawn paints the sky in gentle shades of pink and lavender. Each roll of the tide breaks with a soft, hushed sigh, and the waves feel like a warm embrace as they creep across the beach. Fine grains shift under her bare feet with each careful step, leaving footprints that the foamy edge of the surf soon erases. A light mist rises off the water, cooling her ankles, and the air is rich with the briny tang of the sea mixed with the faint perfume of pine and jasmine from the dunes behind. Marina pauses by a tide pool, its glassy surface reflecting the pastel sky, and bends to watch a tiny hermit crab scuttle along a rock. In the distance, she sees the sky brighten, revealing the silhouette of Silver Mist Headland stretching into the sea, and her heart settles a bit at the familiar sight. Suddenly, a curious school of tiny fish darts around her ankles, arcing through the clear water with such grace that their silver scales flash in the sun like jewels. Marina giggles softly as a single fish leaps out of the water, sending a gentle spray of droplets that catch the light. It feels like the little sailboat is not the only companion joining her in this morning's calm. Even the life of the cove seems to be celebrating with her. Marina pauses by the tide pool and then lifts the small carved wooden model of a sailboat that she has held in her hands. Its miniature sails are painted a faded sky blue, her only companion on this solitary walk. Around her, the world is quietly coming awake. Distant gulls wheel overhead, and the outline of a weathered pier stands dark against the growing light. The air is cool and serene, carrying the faint tang of salt and pine drifting inland from the dunes. She feels the smooth wood warm in her hand from the morning sun. This little sailboat model is more than a toy. It is a memory carved out of time. Marina remembers how her father, a lifelong fisherman, built it for her on a rainy afternoon in his snug workshop. He had set her on a stool to watch as he sawed and sanded, humming a gentle lullaby of the sea. Each curve of the hull holds a memory of him guiding her small fingers as she helped hold a brush, teaching her to listen to the wind and trust the waves. Now, holding its familiar curves, she feels the warmth of those days deep in her heart and clutches it a little tighter. The cool morning quiet presses around her like a gentle blanket, and Marina's eyes fill with the warm ache of remembering that her father is gone. A year has passed since the day he quietly slipped away in his sleep, and although each wave still carries his memory, the ache of his absence can wash over her like an unexpected undertow. She inhales deeply, savoring the crisp tang of sea air mixed with pine, and steadies herself as a soft chill runs up her spine. Her father used to say the ocean always knows how to find its way back to shore, no matter how far it travels. And, as she listens to the steady rhythm of the waves, she can almost hear his gentle voice, riding the breeze. In the vast silence of dawn, Marina speaks softly to the empty horizon, telling him how much she has missed his quiet guidance. A gentle breeze ripples the surface of the sea as if to say it understands, and Marina closes her eyes to hold on to that feeling. Though no words come back, she imagines his comforting smile in the curl of each wave, feeling the warmth of that imagined smile spreading through her chest, even as the ache of longing remains. For a long moment she stands there, eyes shut and heart open, feeling as if her message is being carried out to the horizon and back again by the rolling waves. Marina takes a deep, steadying breath and continues walking along the shoreline, sinking back into the familiar ritual of this route. The ocean at her side rumbles softly, each set of gentle waves lapping around her ankles before receding again, and she senses the steady strength of the sea matching her own slow, careful steps. She moves past a weathered sand dune, stitched with wildflowers and grasses, making her way toward a small rocky point curling into the bay. Rounding this curve, she finds a tranquil pool left behind by the retreating tide, a mirror-smooth lagoon capturing the pastel colors of the morning sky. Stepping into the gentle shallows of the lagoon, Marina feels the cool water swirl around her calves. The wooden sailboat in her hands glints softly as a shaft of sunlight breaks through the clouds and dances across its painted sails. Kneeling in the shallow water, she lowers the boat carefully onto the smooth surface, letting it bob gently as it settles into the bay. The tiny vessel floats easily in the cradle of the lagoon, its reflection trembling as the morning breeze ripples the water around it. Marina remains very still, breath steadying as she watches the little boat drift. She inhales deeply, letting the clean morning air calm her racing heart. Softly, she murmurs to the sailboat, "Be safe," as if her whispered words could float across the water. For a heartbeat, the world feels gentle and safe once more, and her own heart relaxes with the tide. In this quiet moment, her mind wanders back in time. She is suddenly a small child again, perched on her father's shoulders as he stands on the old wooden pier that juts out into the bay. warm afternoon sun falls across the water, and she can almost hear the creak of the boats and smell the sweet honey of toasted marshmallows that they promised to have over the campfire later. He points out to sea and tells her about the far-off lands that ships travel to, his eyes full of gentle wisdom. She remembers how he taught her to whisper her dreams into the sails of any small boat, so the ocean could carry them where they needed to go. Then, without warning, a slightly larger wave sweeps into the lagoon from the open sea. For one brief, silent moment, even the breeze seems to hold its breath. Marina gasps as the tiny boat is caught by the swell and nudged toward a hidden rock beneath the shallow water. Instinctively, she reaches out to steady it, but the shift happens too quickly. The little hull strikes the rock with a soft crack, its wooden mast splintering under the impact. And Marina finds herself holding two jagged pieces of what had been whole. Marina stands frozen in the shallows, her breath caught. A cold ache settles in her chest, and her hands tremble as she kneels again and gently scoops up the largest piece of the splintered hull from the water. Each jagged edge is painfully visible now, and an unexpected sorrow washes through her. A gentle drizzle begins to fall, the raindrops dotting her dark lashes and trailing down her cheeks like tears. She closes her eyes, recalling her father's reassuring look after every scraped knee or broken toy. His belief that even shattered things can be made whole again. A quiet rain settles over the cove, each drop echoing softly against the water's surface. Marina closes her eyes and allows memories to flood in. Her father's laughter warming a long ago afternoon, the scent of pine and sawdust from his workshop, and the gentle creak of the sailboat's mast that he once held with pride. In the hush, she almost hears his gentle voice saying, "Child, the sea always knows how to calm itself after a storm." A small comfort trickles through her despair, grateful for his wisdom even now. For a moment, Marina stands there in the gentle rain, feeling a quiet resolve rising within her. Gingerly, she scoops up the largest piece of the hull from the sand, cradling it against her chest. Though broken, its familiar shape still feels like a tether to the love it represents. Swallowing the lump in her throat, Marina decides to carry this memory forward with her, just as her father taught her to do with all things she held dear. Marina closes her eyes and takes a steadying breath, feeling each heartbeat settle back into a calm rhythm. When she opens her eyes again, she stands and begins to walk, each footfall accompanied by the gentle sigh of seagrass in the breeze. With every step, a faint weight seems to lift from her shoulders, and she imagines her father walking beside her once more. The path winds between towering grasses and sweet-smelling beach roses. As Marina walks, the rain dampens her hair and spirits in equal measure, but the familiar scent of wet earth and pine keeps her grounded. Tiny droplets sparkle like stars on the leaves, and a lone heron lifts off from a nearby marsh with a soft rustle of wings. Nearby, a salt marsh rabbit scurries into the underbrush with a faint rustle. For a fleeting moment, Marina crouches slightly to avoid startling it, and their eyes meet. The rabbit's gentle, curious gaze reminding her that the world is alive with simple wonders. The rabbit disappears into the grasses, and Marina stands up straight again, feeling comforted by this small exchange. She smiles softly, recalling how her father would slow down to point out such simple miracles along their own walks together. This memory warms her heart even as the sky clears overhead. Marina hums one of the old sea shanties her father taught her, its gentle melody blending with the whispering breeze. Soft yet strong, the tune seems to echo through the cedar grove and along the dunes, each note reminding her that she carries his legacy in her voice. She closes her eyes and lets the music carry her a moment, remembering the look of pride he used to have whenever she sang with him. At last, the path descends to reveal the sheltered cove where they used to spend quiet afternoons. Marina steps out of the tunnel of grasses into an expanse of golden sand, framed by rock walls. Overhead, the venerable oak tree stretches a great limb out over the water, its trunk worn smooth like a bench from years of use. It is the same oak her father once brought her to sit under. Somehow it feels like his presence is here with her now. Soft sunlight filters through the branches, casting a dappled pattern on the ground. The cove is empty and serene as it was in her childhood, save for the gentle drumming of rain on the waves and the faint scent of moss and salt air. Marina approaches the oak and sits down on its leaning trunk, now a natural bench. She feels the rough bark under her palms and breathes in the scent of pine and earth, letting the cool shade of the branches settle over her. For a moment, Marina closes her eyes, feeling a deep calm wash over her. Then she looks up through the leaves as sunlight filters down in golden patches. It is the same oak her father once brought her to sit under. It somehow feels like his presence is here with her now. She kneels by the oak's ancient roots, placing the broken boatwood at its base. The texture of the moss feels cool and soft between her fingers, and a wisp of herbal pine rises from the needles. Marina remains on her knees for a few long heartbeats, hands resting on the earth as if saying a silent prayer of gratitude and goodbye to this symbol of their time together. Though the wooden boat is broken, she feels its memory has taken root here, like the seed of an ancient tree. For a moment, a gentle wave of relief washes through her, as if her father is standing beside her giving silent permission to let go. Silence descends, broken only by the gentle embrace of waves on the sand. Marina remains very still, allowing the rhythmic sound of the water to fill the quiet. She closes her eyes and imagines the warmth of her father's hand on her shoulder. In that hush, she understands that his love, even though he is gone, is woven into every wave and breeze that surrounds her. Marina takes a deep, steadying breath and rises from the oak bench. Above her, the rain-swept clouds have parted to reveal a wide expanse of tranquil blue sky. She closes her eyes and smiles softly, feeling a warm peace swell in her chest. For a brief moment, she allows herself to simply be happy. Standing at the water's edge, Marina watches the ocean surface glint with sunlight. For a moment, she simply stands there, letting the warm sun kiss her damp hair and listening to the rhythmic lullaby of the waves. Each wave that meets the shore seems to carry with it the soothing promise that everything, despite everything, is going to be all right. As Marina steps off the beach and back onto the familiar sandy path, she slows her pace to savor the comforting symphony of the morning. Sunlight filters through the pine trees, and a few friendly neighbors wave as she passes their cozy homes. She pauses at her cottage doorway, closing her eyes to imprint the melody of the waves onto her memory. Inside, the cottage feels welcoming and peaceful. Marina places the polished seashell on the bedside table where the sunlight will catch it, and then she slips out of her damp sandals. She climbs into her bed under the soft covers, listening to the distant sound of the ocean just beyond her window. Wrapped in a warm blanket, Marina closes her eyes and breathes deeply, finally ready to let the gentle calm of the day carry her into sleep.